Hi everyone, in my previous part we have seen how this blastocyst implant itself in this endometrial lining, and as it implant itself here, now this endometrial lining is termed as decidua. So you can say that the decidua is the endometrial lining of the pregnant uterus. So here in this figure you can see that the interstitial implantus is completed here, and we'll see what are the layer of the uterine wall. The outermost lining of the uterus is called, here it is the outermost lining, this is called the perimetrium, and the middle one is called the myometrium. Here is the myometrium, that is the muscular layer of the uterus. Myo means muscles, so the myometrium is the middle one, and the innermost lining of the uterus is the endometrium. And in the endometrium itself there are the two lining. This hole is called the endometrium, and in endometrium there is a thin basal layer. Here it is the thin basal layer. This is the stratum basalis. Stratum means layer, basalis, and inner to that you can say this hole is the functional layer, that is stratum functionalis. So in this stratum functionalis there is again two layer, that is here it is, you can see this layer is the spongy layer, stratum spongiosum, and the innermost to this is stratum spongiosum. I'll mention here stratum spongiosum or spongy layer, and the innermost one is, I'll draw with a different, this one, and the innermost is called the compactum, compact layer. So the implantation which is going to take place here is in the functional layer, and in functional layer the two layer involved here is that the compact and the spongy one. This blastocyst doesn't invade this basal layer, that is the stratum basalis. It does not involve this basal layer. So in a normal condition it just involves this functional layer, that is the compact and the spongy. Spongy because it is highly vascular, and glandular because it contains the basis of various endometrial glands. So in a normal condition this blastocyst invade in this functional layer itself, it does not involve this basal layer. But in some of the condition, if this blastocyst invade more deeply and involve this basal layer, then it create placenta accreta, and if it goes more deeply and involves this myometrial layer, then called the placenta increta, and if it goes more beyond that and deeply invade and it crosses the perimetrial lining, then this condition create the placenta parcreta. So these three conditions are more dangerous situation in a woman. So here in this video we'll only seeing the normal implantation, that is this blastocyst only invade this functional layer of this endometrium. It does not involve this basal layer of this endometrial lining too. This basalis forms the new functional layer after the childbirth. During menstrual cycle what is happening? This compact and spongy layer become shed off, because as the progesterone level declines the blood vessels become constrict, and as the constriction occur, the cell become oxygen deprived. They didn't receive any nutrition, so they become shed off. But at the time of pregnancy, what is happening? This corpus luteum releases progesterone continuously because it is rescued by HCG, human chorionic gonadotrophin releasing hormone, and that HCG is produced by these syncytiotrophoblastic cells. So corpus luteum continuously releases progesterone, and this progesterone keep the blood vessels open and releases more endometrial secretion from the glands. So they releases more glycogen as well as the lipid rich secretion, which is very essential for this blastocyst nourishment in a initial phase. So by this progesterone action, the decidual reaction takes place. So this is called the decidual reaction, that is the endometrial lining is in more secretory phase to keep this blastocyst nourishes. Now this decidua has many names depending on its contact with the blastocyst. So here we'll see what are the names. You can see here, this is the syncytiotrophoblastic cells, and this part of the decidua, here the line I am drawing. So this part of the decidua which comes in contact with this base part of the blastocyst, here it is the base part. So the part of the decidua which come in contact with this base of the blastocyst is called decidua basalis, or you can say that decidua serotina. The another one, this part, the part of decidua which encloses the blastocyst and form a thin wall. Here in this black you can see. So this is the thin lining. So this is the part of the decidua which encloses the blastocyst is called decidua capsularis, or the another name is the decidua reflexa. Now the third part, that is the non-involving part. This whole part of the decidua which is not involving in the implantation is called the decidua vera or the decidua parietalis. So these are the three areas of the decidua depending on its contact with this blastocyst. The basalis, that is the base of the blastocyst comes in contact with this layer of decidua is called the decidua basalis, and it is very important because later on this forms the plate, basal plate of the placenta. The another one is the capsularis, which creates a single layer to enclose this blastocyst, capsularis, and the remaining non-involved area of the decidua, which do not take part in the formation of this implantation site. Now what is happening? As this blastocyst grows more and more, here you can see as this blastocyst grows more and more, what will be happen? This capsular layer and this vera layer, that is parietalis, become fused together, and that will be happening on around 4th month. So this capsularis and this vera layer become fused together, and by the term this both layer mixes together, they become atrophied by the growing fetus. Decidua plays very important role. Initially this decidua releases glycogen and lipid rich secretion because endometrium is in secretory phase. So it is very helpful for this blastocyst to survive in an initial phase, and along with that this decidua releases some local peptides and cytokine that stops further invading this blastocyst into the remaining layers. It keeps the blastocyst to remain in the functional layer itself. So this is how in this video we have seen what is the decidua, that is the endometrium of the pregnant uterus, and what are the name of the decidua depending on its contact with the blastocyst, that is the basalis, then the capsularis and the vera, and the function that to provide the glycogen and lipid secretion to the blastocyst to survive in an initial stage and control its invasion and limit its invasion in the functional layer itself. In next part we will be seeing how the chorionic villi, that is the functional unit of the placenta, is formed. Thank you.